In this video, we're going to go over a couple points of suggestions of what to do if you're a seller considering selling your home, what to do before you list your home. So I have this conversation with all of my sellers before we put it on the market, before we start taking pictures and having open houses and showings. There's going to be several things that I would recommend a seller to do before they go to market and we start having people come in and seeing the property. And I put this together over years of just selling real estate, working with buyers. I work with a lot of buyers as well as sellers, and just hearing their feedback and seeing what the consumer is doing as they see homes and which ones they like, which ones they choose to write offers on, just what the overall consumer is looking for. And so what I would suggest, and actually before I get into the list, I often find it fascinating that I normally have a little bit of pushback from sellers of doing stuff to their house and getting it kind of ready for market than I would think should be, because I see more people do more to their car to sell their car. You know, if you're going to go sell your car and sell it privately or take it to the dealership and sell it, what are you going to do? Wash it, wax it, vacuum, make sure it smells good, it looks good inside, tires are either replaced or shined up. You're going to put your best foot forward. And when you're going to sell a car, almost everybody knows that. But when you go to sell a house, sometimes it's a little bit of the opposite of an experience. And I can understand that because it's my personal space. We don't, it might be a little bit offensive to say, hey, clean your house. but sometimes cleaning your house can net you 5 or 10% more, which can really add up when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. It can add up to put your best foot forward. So some of the preliminary stuff that we'll do before marketing is I would suggest get your house cleaned. You can clean it, have a professional clean it. You want to declutter as much as possible, because when you declutter and when you just take stuff out of the house and into the garage, and it's completely acceptable for your garage to be completely filled up with furniture and items that you're just storing for later, it makes the house and your home look so much bigger. I know when my wife and I recently sold our property about 6 months ago, and it was a small townhome. It was 1,300 square feet, and the downstairs it felt so much smaller than 1,300 square feet. But what we did right before we put it on the market is we started taking some just extra furniture that we didn't really need there. So we took the ottomans, some of the coffee tables, everything off the counter in the kitchen, so it was just like perfectly clean of just nothing, and several other things around the house. And I swear it felt a couple hundred square feet bigger. And when you're only talking about 1,300 square feet, a couple hundred square feet goes a very long way. And could you imagine what that would look like over 2, 3, 4, 5,000 square feet if you did that? It can make it look so much bigger, and that's what you want. You want the consumer to walk in, see that there's plenty of space, it's open. So declutter, put stuff in the garage, smells. If you have dogs, if you have cats or any animals, I would do whatever you could to make sure that it doesn't smell like that. If you have kids, make sure it doesn't smell like kids. You want it to be very clean and inviting as somebody walks into the property. And I've seen countless buyers that right when you open the door, they walk in and it smells like something, and they walk right out just based on the smell. So you might need to light candles for open houses and every showing. And like I said, the garage is completely fine to be covered in, just storage. That's acceptable. I don't see too much negative feedback for that. Buyers actually prefer that the garage be cluttered than the house. So definitely be okay with that. Like I said, with the kitchen countertops, put, the toasters, everything that you really don't need out there for the showings and open houses and pictures, take those off, put them in the garage, and then in the evening, bring them back. Going into landscaping. So it would be very helpful for the front yard as the consumer drives up and comes into the property, for landscaping, front of the house, driveway, everything to be very presentable and in its best condition possible, because that first impressions. So somebody drives up, it looks clean, looks presentable, looks like a caring homeowner has lived there. That's what you want to share to the buyer. And I've driven by many properties where the buyers, I'm not even going to go inside the property. That actually happens quite a bit, more often than you think. So front landscaping, you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars on the front, but spend a little bit of money, or you do it yourself, put a little bit of effort in the front landscaping. If you have kids like I do, and you have toys everywhere, for the first several weeks as we're hunting for a buyer and on the market and doing marketing and advertising, all the toys go in the garage but one bucket. And so you tell your kids you have one bucket, and in the evening times, when it's playtime, they can have one bucket, and then that goes into the garage. So all the toys and everything is away. Again, we want the open and inviting feeling. And for some properties, you might need to consider touch-up paint or repainting. If you have really dark paint color throughout the whole house, it can feel dark, dungy, and smaller. And so it could be worth repainting or touch-up paint inside the property. If you have carpet and you have pets and it might smell like that pet, you might need to consider replacing that carpet. And when we're doing showings and open houses, all the lights are on full blast, the shades are open. We want it, like I said a couple times, very bright, very open, so it feels bigger and it just feels like a safe space for people, and very inviting for people to be there. And occasionally you might need to consider doing some staging depending on your property. Staging can be very costly. Staging would be the last thing that I would recommend doing. I would try everything else before, because you can get a good value by everything I said before, and it's not that expensive to put your best foot forward. So I can see by doing most of this, 5-10%, you could potentially get in addition to what you could have sold if you didn't do anything, and that could be tens of thousands of dollars. So spending a couple $1,000 and a couple hours putting in the work yourself will definitely net you more money. And especially in this market, it's going to help you sell faster for more money and more offers to choose from.